chapter begins with Sam waking up on Amelie's beach, witnessing a flashback from his early childhood. Child Sam is crying, being told by Amelie that it's time to go. Amelie gives Sam a dream catcher and says that through the dream catcher she can help to keep the nightmares away, and he can remember that she will always be with him. Sam then wakes up in his private room and is invited into the president's office by Die Hard Man. As Sam is in the shower, Dead Man contacts him, reminding him to come to the president's office, saying that she's waiting for him. Sam meets Die Hardman at the president's office, and Die Hardman tells Sam that even though Bridget is no longer with us, her legacy needs to continue. He needs to finish her dream of reconstructing America. He then introduces the face of the new America, which is Amelie, who he refers to as Samantha America Strand. Die Hardman notes that it's been 10 years since Sam and Amelie have seen one another, and she hasn't aged a day because her body is on the beach. Sam can hardly believe that she is serious about reconnecting everyone and everything. Amelie and Die Hardman need Sam to reconnect all America and thus reform the United Cities of America, but Sam insists that he said his goodbyes to everyone when he said his goodbyes to Bridget. This begins the mission briefing summary sequence. We see a giant hologram of the United States. Amelie begins to tell the story of Bridges 1, the team that she led west. She was never interrupted by BTs. The team saw them all coming miles away, according to Die Hardman. Amelie and Bridges once convinced many communities to join the United Cities of America, and it took them 3 years to take the group all the way to Edge Knot City on the Pacific coast. After they arrived on the west coast, the team was wiped out and Amelie was taken by terrorists, the group Homo Demons led by Higgs. Amelie says that she isn't being kept in a cell and is allowed to use their facilities and to speak with Sam whenever she wants. The terrorists are hoping to continue the independence of Edge Knot City and are holding Amelie captive to prevent Bridges from reconnecting them to the chiral network. Sam recognizes the terrorist group as the same group that engineer void outs to control the country through fear. Sam theorizes that perhaps the suicide that was found late at Central Knot City was perhaps one of the terrorists. Amelie repeats her mother's thoughts that if America doesn't come together, humanity itself will not survive. They talk about several communities throughout the country that would rather keep to themselves and go it alone, similar to Sam. These people are afraid that connecting the country again will take away their freedom, and Sam holds up his shackle to remind Bridges that that's what they're doing to him. But they insist the cufflinks are not shackles. Instead, they're a sign of unity amongst Bridges' staff members. They tell Sam that his mission is to retrace Amelie's steps west to all the chiral terminals that she left behind and bring the facilities online to the chiral network using the Cupid device. Sam is then to find Amelie in Edge Knot City and bring her home. After Sam brings Amelie home, her intention is to continue carrying on her mother's work rebuilding the country. They need Sam because of his dooms. He's able to carry the Cupid west without being affected by the chiralium in the instrument. Sam warns them that reconnecting the country could cause everything to fall apart rather than save the country like they think it will. Sam notes that it's not as simple as connecting and then reconnecting. Dead Man returns with the BB unit having completed maintenance on it and fine-tuned it just for Sam. He notes that this seems to be the only time that BBs and an individual with dooms seem to be a good combination. Sam then falls asleep in his private room and is taken once again to Amelie's beach. Sam is reminded by Amelie that whether he likes it or not, his name is Sam Strand, but Sam says he's not a Strand anymore, he's Sam Porter Bridges. They talk about how funny the word strand is. A strand is a rope or bond, but stranding means being washed up on the shore, and being stranded is when you can't go home. Amelie tells Sam that she's stranded on the shore of the Pacific and she needs him. She tells him that even though she's thousands of miles away, their bond still holds, and shows him the Dreamcatcher necklace that she once gave him as a child. Amelie for a moment changes clothing and is seen in a black dress and crying while looking back at Sam before transforming again into a red dress. She begs Sam to return to Bridges to complete the mission and reminds Sam once again that she will be waiting for him on the beach. We then see Sam's face lit orange as he stares out from the beach. Amelie walks into the water, and behind her is some celestial object engulfed in flames, lighting the entire sky on fire. This is the end of the beach sequence, and Sam once again awakens in his private room and attaches his Dreamcatcher necklace back onto his neck. As Sam is checking out the stuff in his private room, he is once again introduced to the woman from the terminal at Central Knot City who now calls herself Mama. Mama points out the rope that you will find attached to Sam's hip throughout the game, and it's interwoven with Sam's blood. As Sam hopped into the shower, Hartman comes over the intercom to tell Sam that the shower is especially designed for chiral decontamination. Hartman believes that chiral contamination has a link to dooms and may be a trigger for dooms. He informs Sam that they will be studying his health through the fluids he emits and the fluids from the shower. As Sam prepares to leave, Die Hardman enters his private room. Sam tells Die Hardman that he's a porter and he doesn't really care about connecting anything and making knots, but he will do the mission because he wants to help Amelie out, so Die Hardman gives him the Cupid. Die Hardman tells Sam that the terminals Bridges 1 built on their way west are called chiral knots, and right now they can only transmit voice communications. Sometimes they're wired and sometimes they're wireless, but they can also transmit data only small amounts. He tells Sam that all he needs to do is find the terminal and connect the terminal using the Cupid to bring the terminal online. This will allow each individual terminal to connect to the chiral network and be able to transmit huge quantities of data instantaneously. All the data at each terminal will then be compiled and stored into one massive central data hub, and their hope is that 4.6 billion years of history on Earth, with all the wisdom and knowledge we lost since the Death Stranding, will be recovered by restoring each chiral knot. He also then tells Sam that when he reestablishes connection, eventually they'll have the ability to use chiral printers and they'll be able to send all kinds of things to Sam through the wire. The only thing they won't be able to send is anything original or anything that has a soul. So there is still some need for porters like Sam. Die Hardman tells Sam both before and after they're made whole, they will still need men in the middle. Before Sam starts back out on his journey, Deadman arrives, and Sam tells Deadman that he has noticed that his blood seems to do something to BTs and asks Deadman to research the phenomena. As Sam reconnects the BB unit again, we see a memory flashback of the man with the jacket, the captain, peering over the body of a woman. He apologizes to the woman, who he calls Lisa, and says that he'll take care of the BB. He then seems to remove BB from its mount and walks through the room carrying BB, at which point he reveals that he is BB's daddy. As Sam prepares to leave for his first delivery, Die Hardman tells them that they can't just extend the signal directly to its final destination. They need intermediate stations, so Sam is given the plan of connecting several stations on his way to the eastern shore of the lake, which is on the extreme west of the eastern part of the country. On his way to the first terminal, Sam encounters an area full of BTs, and Die Hardman tells him that the Death Stranding is responsible for the state we now find the American mainland in. Die Hardman tells Sam that reconnecting everyone is one way that they look forward to fixing what happened in the Death Stranding. Sam arrives at the way station west of Capital Knot City and connects the first chiral terminal to the network, the first knot in a very long strand. The team at the way station tells us that they haven't seen anyone in 3 years, which we assume is a reference to Bridges 1, led by Amelie. Sam continues his trek onto the distribution center west of Capital Knot City, and on his way there, he wanders into mule territory, where we encounter the first mules of the game attempting to capture Sam's cargo. After Timefall begins, the mules return back to their base, leaving him alone. We see an upside-down rainbow, and shortly thereafter, Sam finds himself in BT territory once again. At the end of the BT territory, BB-28 seems to malfunction, and Deadman informs Sam that he's experiencing autotoxemia from the stress of looking after Sam through BT territory. Di Hardman explains autotoxemia, saying that when the BB unit experiences too much stress, the body produces harmful compounds that begin to attack itself, and the only way to fix it is to reconnect the BB unit to the chiral network in the private room. When Sam makes it to the distribution center west of Capital Knot City, the man there says that he's been in communication with the way station, so we know that there is at least voice communication between the distribution center and the way station. Sam then connects the distribution center to the chiral network using the Cupid and retreats to his private room to take care of BB-28. Sam arrives into his private room, and Deadman instructs Sam to reconnect the incubator to the chiral network. Deadman says that the stress and autotoxemia can be reversed by reconnecting the BB to its mother's womb. BB's mother is in Capital Knot City in an ICU facility and is brain dead. Deadman explains that what they call brain dead mothers, or still mothers, their womb facilitates connection between the world of the dead and the BB. When Sam connects to the BB unit, it grants him the ability to sense BTs. Deadman explains that the BB unit pod was designed to simulate the experience inside the still mother's womb. But this deception can only be maintained so long, which is why Sam must periodically update environmental data by reconnecting the BB to the chiral network and thus its still mother's womb. The percentage number displayed outside the incubator in private rooms represents how in sync the BB unit is with its still mother, sometimes hundreds or thousands of miles away. Deadman once again reminds Sam that bridge babies are just equipment and not to get attached to them. And he also says that each BB has been physically removed from its still mother's womb, which is a process that renders them unpredictable and prone to failure. He says that no BB on record has remained in service for over a year, so he warns Sam that this BB unit may need to be retired before the expedition is even over. Sam seems astonished that there's no way to keep the BB unit alive. Deadman reminds him that there's a lot we still don't know about BB units at all, but as we reconnect each terminal to the chiral network, we might discover more research. Before leaving, he tells Sam that they are researching why Sam's blood seems to react with BTs, and he says that Hartman is now also researching this phenomena, and he expects results soon. After Sam falls asleep, Amelie's chirogram enters Sam's room singing "London Bridge is Falling Down." She tells Sam that she's still chained up and reminds Sam that if he continues to make connections, she can go back east with him and return home, and thanks him for being on the mission. Amelie tells Sam that there are fewer and fewer people in the cities and people aren't having children any longer, but humans are supposed to be together. They aren't meant to be alone, and they're supposed to help one another. She says if we can't return to that reality, her mother's prediction of extinction is all that waits for humanity. Sam seems confused and reminds Amelie that rebuilding America isn't going to get rid of the BTs, but Amelie tells him that at least they'll have hope. She once again reminds Sam that she'll be waiting, and when she disappears, instead of fading like a chirogram, she vanishes using the same technology that Fragile and Higgs used to instantaneously travel around. In his shower, Sam asks Hartman if he studies everyone with dooms, and Hartman replies that they study everyone in bridges, even himself and Mama, and it's not clear whether that means most people in bridges have dooms, or that he and Mama have dooms, or if Sam's unique in their studies. It's at this point we find out that Hartman has been studying Sam's bodily fluids, and he has formed a weapon of sorts from Sam's shower water. It's the Type 0 grenade, and when Sam uses the Type 0 grenade, it causes BTs to move. They seem repelled by the contents of the fluid, but it doesn't seem to injure or damage them. Hartman says it's almost time, and we hear something counting down to 1, and Sam calls after him, but Hartman no longer responds. Di Hardman then tells Sam that as they reconnect each knot, more and more data will be found in his cufflinks. A lot of the lore covered in my lore videos comes from these interviews and other sources of data. We then see another memory as Sam jacks back into BB, of BB's daddy, and this time he's talking to a woman unseen off camera. BB's dad says that they told him that they would do everything in their power to save BB. The woman's voice, which, by the way, sounds just like Amelie's, says they're doing everything they can, but they can't release the captain's son just yet, and that's for the best. To which the captain replies, says, "Some woman in a mask who has done nothing but lie to me." Deadman interrupts Sam before he takes on his next mission to tell him that if BB begins to show signs of stress, that Sam can do several things to help avoid autotoxemia. He suggests that Sam comfort and rock BB. He then tells Deadman about the flashbacks with the captain, and Deadman confirms our suspicions that these are BB's memories. The phenomena is called bleed-through effect, and they sometimes happen because BB units are harvested at 28 weeks old and are more than capable of encoding memories. Deadman does not seem concerned at all about bleed-through effect and reminds Sam that the visions could be of anyone because this particular BB unit has been in circulation for some time now. Sam now gets the ability to collect chiral crystals, which are found in golden hand-like formations in areas of high chiral activity, areas that generally have time falls and or BTs. Sam undergoes a quick mission to retrieve some chiral printer parts from a mule encampment nearby. Hartman tells Sam that using the beach, they can transmit huge quantities of data for use by the chiral printer, which is an extraordinarily useful tool. Using the beach to transmit data, he says, is akin to time travel because data transfer is so fast that it's almost like sending data back through time. After rescuing the chiral printer parts, Sam continues his journey and is told that he needs to make his next stop at a power station in the mountains. After passing through another area of BT territory, Sam arrives at the power station and connects them to the chiral network. Connecting the wind farm power station to the current network allows the transfer of generator schematics for Sam to use. Bridges' staff at the wind farm informs Sam that even though Amelie went through their area 3 years ago, they were never able to actually meet Amelie. Deadman tells Sam that they aerosolized Sam's blood and it seems to be some kind of BT repellent that they're hopeful they can work into some kind of weapon for Sam to use. Die Hardman tells Sam that the whole region is almost connected to the chiral network, and there's one more connection, and Sam needs to return to the capital in order to pick up some supplies to take to Port Knot City before completing the region. I haven't mentioned every time music plays as you travel throughout the game, but as you're descending the mountains, the song Anything You Need by Low Roar plays, and as a personal note, I'd just like to say that the music selection for this game and the way that music is used and incorporated in the game is absolutely perfect. This is why in my chapter videos, I always slow the video down for the music. After descending the mountain, before returning to the capital, Sam finally gets the ability to use his reverse trike again. After resting in his personal room, Hartman tells Sam that he can now use the Type 1 grenade, which is a distillation of Sam's urine. Unlike the Grenade 0, the number 1 grenade will make all BTs in the surrounding area temporarily leave the zone, and the effect seems to be a lot longer than the PX Grenade 0. Interestingly enough, if you urinate in an area where there are BTs, this seems to have the same effect, even without the grenade, and you can make a stronger version of the EX Grenade number 1 if you wait until your stamina is below 25% and you use the urinal standing up. Sam is told by Die Hardman when he returns to the capital that the next delivery he's taking contains general supplies and medication as well as human embryos and sperm cells. The human embryos and sperm are in a special container that takes advantage of chiralium's temporal properties so they can remain viable for as long as possible. These human samples are necessary for ensuring genetic diversity in different regions. Sam is also delivering supplies that will travel with him across the lake to the central region of the United States of America. Mama has completed her prototype of the first anti-BT weapon, which are hematic grenades. The grenades use Sam's blood in an aerosolized form to hopefully damage BTs. After Sam uses his private room and jacks back into BB, we see another flashback to the captain. He's showing BB a book that has an image of planet Earth hundreds of millions of years ago when there was just one big continent. The captain also shows BT a picture of the moon and promises that one day BB will be able to go anywhere he wants, even the moon. He says the whole world will be BB's to explore. As Sam travels west of the distribution center and the wind farm, he encounters another large area of BTs in the mountains and has his first opportunity to use the new anti-BT hematic grenade. When Sam uses the grenade on a BT, the BT disappears entirely and leaves behind a chiral crystal formation. Hartman calls Sam to tell him that he can't believe that Sam has killed a BT, and they can see that chiral density is decreasing. If you take your time and clear out all the BTs in an area, or at least enough of them, BTs will altogether retreat from the area and timefall will stop for a time, although it all returns eventually. The song Asylums for the Feeling by Silent Poets plays as Sam descends the mountains into Port Knot City. Sam connects Port Knot City onto the chiral network, and when the worker notices BB, he notices the astronaut Ludens figure attached to BB-28. We then find out that this is Igor's brother. Igor's brother has a similar Ludens astronaut figure, and not to spoil any lore at this point, but take note that the exchange of small items is significant of individual connections to one another. If you remember back to the prologue, Igor was the member of the corpse disposal team that was pulled up into the sky by the giant catcher BT and attempted stabbing himself to death before being sucked into the golden mouth of the catcher and causing the famous void out that destroyed Central Knot City. As Sam finishes his business in Port Knot City, Amelie shows up to congratulate Sam in a chirogram and to tell him that with enough time and chiral printers, we'll be able to print ships and reclaim the waters. She also reminds Sam that any city that joins the United Cities of America becomes a target for the Homo Demons terrorist groups, but that shouldn't deter him. Igor's brother tells Sam that they don't have a boat to cross the lake, but Fragile Express does, and there's one at port right now waiting for him. As Sam's getting ready to leave, he hears the rumble of thunder, but's told, don't worry about it because the port never gets the rain. Sam decides to spend one more night in his private room before setting across the lake, and we see another flashback from BB as he jacks back in the following morning. In the flashback, we see the captain bringing the Ludens astronaut figure to BB, tell him that mankind can go wherever it wants to now, even outer space, and he'll take BB wherever he wants to go as soon as this is all over. After the flashback, Sam heads towards the port itself, but upon reaching the top of the ramp, discovers heavy timefall. Inverted rainbows and thick storm clouds roll in, and the city loses power. We see scattered around Sam's feet in the general area the bodies of many dead crabs. BB activates as the tar comes up to Sam's knees, and BTs appear, attempting to pull Sam down into the tar. They succeed and pull Sam some distance away. BB is frantic at this point, and you can see from the activity on Sam's Audra deck that BB's scared. Instead of a catcher showing up, we see the terrorist from the prologue, who introduces himself as Higgs, the particle of God that permeates all of existence. Higgs briefly addresses Fragile, who's on the roof of the Bridges building, and they seem to know one another. Higgs calls Fragile bloodied but unbowed. Higgs already knows that President Bridget Strand is dead, and somehow also knows that Amelie has been chosen to replace her mother. Higgs mentions that Sam doesn't need to worry because he'll keep Amelie very safe. Higgs tells us that he's come to understand the truth of the Death Stranding, and he also tells us that Amelie isn't like you or me and that she doesn't have dooms. He says that she's more into destruction on a worldwide scale, an extinction entity. Higgs shoots tar out of his hands in what I can only describe as tar flames, and laments that it's hard to form connections when you can't shake hands, but says that he fortunately has a good connection to the other side. He says that he's bound to everything, this world, the other world, and our sweet little angel of death. Black, tarry umbilical cords spring from Higgs' fingertips, and he pulls a catcher BT from the tar. If you've been good at avoiding BTs up to this point in the game, this is your first boss fight. Die Hardman contacts Sam over his codex. Sam needs to destroy the catcher immediately because a single BT allowed to make contact with a civilian would be enough to cause a void out, which seems to be Higgs' plan. After dispatching the BT, it condenses and then crystallizes into chiralium, and many golden chiralium hand formations are left on the ground for Sam to harvest. Hartman then contacts Sam to inform him that what he has done is not only incredible, but it's the first time in history that a human has truly defeated a BT. Hartman thinks Sam is only able to accomplish this because he's a repatriate, which, if you remember, means that Sam can come back from the dead, or the seam, before he reaches the beach after events like voidouts. Sam then continues on to the boat, where he is met by Fragile. Sam first confirms that Fragile saw Higgs, almost like he was wondering if he was hallucinating, and Fragile acknowledges that she saw him too. Fragile informs Sam that they used to work together. They once had a contract. Sam seems incensed that she would do business with terrorists, accusing her essentially of only caring about money, but she tells him that Higgs wasn't always a terrorist. She then shows Sam a large boat that, like all vehicles in Death Stranding, looks slightly goofy. She tells Sam that they're the only cargo left, and that is the end of Chapter 2.